All right, in today's lesson here, we're going to go through some quick examples of finding the equation of a line given 2 points. So let's run through some of these questions here. So in the first example here, I've got 2 points, and I want to find the equation of a line. I know that equation of a line can be represented as y equals mx plus b. So my goal is to find the m and the b. Well, to find the m, that's my slope, I can go ahead and use my formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, when you get your points here, you can label these in any order. I'm going to label my first point x1, y1, my second point x2, y2. But again, the order doesn't matter. You can do that in any order you like. When I sub this in here, I end up getting -2 minus -1 all over -2 minus 0. This ends up being -2 plus 1 over -2 is -1 over -2, which is a half. So the slope of this line is equal to 1/2. Now that I've gone ahead and found the slope here of 1/2, I can go ahead and go to my equation, and now my equation is y equals 1/2 x plus b. I now want to solve for my b value. Now this question is a little bit easier because they actually gave us my y-intercept here already. So I already know that my y-intercept here is -1. So we are done, and the answer is y equals 1/2 x minus 1, and that is it. So again here, we happen to have been given the y-intercept as one of the points to work with. If I didn't have that, I have to pick one of these points, sub them in, and solve for b. Let's take a look at how that would play out in the next example. So for the next example here, same idea. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label this time. I'll label this x1, y1 just to show you that it works the same. And I can go ahead and calculate my slope. So my slope is going to be the change in my y. So it'll be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And in which case here, this is -7 over 3. So you get -7/3 for my slope. So my equation is -7/3 x plus my b value. Again, I can choose either point to sub in. I'm going to go ahead and sub in the first point here that's given to me. So subbing this in here, my y value is -5, and my x value is 1. So I end up getting -5 is -7/3 plus b. Bring this up here, my b value is -5 plus 7/3. Getting a common denominator, I'm going to rewrite that 5 as -15 over 3 plus 7 over 3, and my b value is -8 over 7. So putting this all together, my equation is y is -7/3 x minus 8 over 7. And we are done. All right, let's take a look at another. So the next problem here, same idea. We want to find the equation of line. We're given these 2 points here. I'm going to go ahead and label this x1, y1. I'll label this point x2, y2. If I go to calculate my slope here, I'm going to do the change in my y. So I'll do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. End up getting -9 over 3, which is -3. So the slope of this line is y equals -3x plus b. And again, I'm lucky enough, once again, they gave me my y-intercept sitting right here. I don't even have to sub it in this time. I know the y-intercept is -4, and we are done with this question. Let's look at another. So for this problem here, same idea. I'm going to go ahead and label my points. I'll label this x1, y1. I'll label this x2, y2. And I can go ahead and calculate my slope. My slope is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in this case here, you're going to get 5 minus 3 in the top and -1 minus 5 in the bottom. So that'll give me 2 over -6, which is -2 over 6. And again, you can simplify that to be -1/3. So the equation of this line is y equals -1/3 x plus my b value. And again, I can pick one of these points to sub in. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to pick the first point and sub that in and solve for b. So if I sub that in, my y value is 3. And my x value is a 5. So this becomes 3 equals -5/3 plus b. Bring that to one side here. And now get my common denominator. Add this together. My b value is 14 over 3. So the slope is y equals -1/3 x plus 14 over 3. All right, let's take a look at another. So for the next question here, same idea. We'll label this x1, y1, label this x2, y2. And you can go ahead and calculate your slope. So slope is going to be the change in my y. So 3 minus -4 all over 4 minus negative 3. And watching our signs here, I get 7 over 7, and I'm getting the slope is 1. So this equation is y equals 1x, or just x, plus my b value. I'll go ahead and sub in my second point this time, so I'm going to get rid of the y, it's going to be a 3. Get rid of the x, it's going to be a 4. And solving for b, I get 3 minus 4, which is negative 1. So putting this all together, this equation is y equals x minus 1. All right, let's do one more question here. Let's do this one here. So for this problem here, again, I'm going to label this x1, y1. I'll label this x2, y2. Go ahead and calculate my slope is going to be the change in my y all over the change in my x, in which case here I get negative 7 over 5. So the slope of this line is negative 7/5. The equation is y equals negative 7/5 x plus my b value. I can sub either point in. So I'm going to sub that first point in this time. So my y value is now a 2. And my x value is a negative 4. When you're multiplying these numbers fraction by integer, this just becomes over 1. So this will end up being, in this case, 28 over 5 plus b. And again, when I do multiply this out, I should make sure that it doesn't reduce. It doesn't. But before you go ahead and multiply those out, you always want to make sure that they reduce. So I can kind of isolate for b here. I'll rewrite this as 10 over 5 minus 28 over 5 is b. And b is negative 18 over 5. So the equation is y is negative 7/5 x minus 18 over 5. And we are done. All right, that concludes today's lesson here on finding the equation line given 2 points. Once you have your formula here, as you can see here, you calculate your formula, sub it back in, find your b value, and you are done. Thank you.